Hello and welcome to Eco Girl in a Modern World. My name is Shelly and my channel is dedicated to talking about ways to be more environmentally friendly in a modern context. Today we're going to keep the video very brief. I know last video we talked a lot about brand identity and particularly with sports brands, and that has definitely still been on my mind. The jury is still kind of out on what the backstories of all these different companies. I have continued to watch stories, to watch current biographies about the two brands that we talked about, the Adidas and PUMA. I do think that I do like Adidas for a lot of reasons. I feel like it's kind of the underdog brand. It does have a very controversial core moral to it, but I think behind everything, the creator and maker wanted to just make good running shoes. He wanted to support the sport, and same thing with his brother in the creation of PUMA. And actually those two brands we're going to be talking a lot about today, and today we're talking about sneaker recycling or recycling with sports leisure products. So again, I definitely got to thinking about the branding, the stories behind a lot of these athleisure products. To be honest, even though 100 years ago, Adidas would have been made in Germany, or Nike would have been made in the United States, it seems like today, regardless of what the origin story is, a lot of the materials that we use is outsourced. It is purchased from other countries. So even if you assemble the product here in the United States, the actual core materials would need to be brought in or created here or recycled here. And I wanted to talk a lot about recycling of materials, because I think that is really important. We talk here on the channel all the time about how we just mass produce everything. I think the United States, we're a consumer culture. I think we've been that way since the Second World War. We had a great booming of housing and of families, of growth population wise, and I think just over the years we've gotten accustomed to purchasing things, but we don't really question where the source, like the manufacturing chains that provide us with those goods, and we have way too much produced. We have it is proven that we probably have 15 times more clothes, more sneakers, more shoes than we could ever wear in our lifetimes. And a lot of those products, a lot of those materials, a lot of the clothes and the shoes are made from polyester and plastic and rubber, and it's all virgin rubber, and that is a lot of pollution. It's a lot of waste. It's like no offense to the sneakerheads, but if you have 20 different pairs of sneakers, a lot of times that brand, that kind of special design of shoe is going to be used using new materials. And the only problem is polyester is polyurethane. It is plastic. It is so that's kind of a double-edged sword, because that's gas, that's fuel, petroleum that you're using. So that's not same kind of gas that you would that you would formulate to put into your car to drive, is used to create the plastic that is put into polyester garments. The other thing is, even if a garment is made out of cotton, regular cotton is very water intensive. It takes a lot of water to produce a small amount of cotton, and then regular cotton is usually grown using a lot of pesticides, and pesticides, when it gets into water supply, is also pretty bad. So unless it's organic cotton, and even then it's a very thirsty plant, it takes a lot of water to produce, and when you bleach and add other colors, that also adds to the pollution. So it just really got me thinking. After the last video, I was like, okay, I've kind of gotten an idea of what the different brands mean to me and why I gravitate towards purchasing from those brands. And I really did want to think about, okay, when I wear this brand, what does it say? What message is it sending? So when I wear Adidas, I feel like it is, it's supporting the underdog. When I wear Champion, it's really a throwback to, my teenage years. And I also think that it supports the military. And you'll see I bought a really cute t-shirt secondhand, 100% cotton. But basically on this channel, I talk a lot about buying secondhand because, you know, regardless, as we go through this video, regardless of how much you recycle something, recycling is not an easy process, and it's a limiting process. It's not something that we can just rely on. We can't continue to consume the way that we are. So that's the core moral of this is, you know, buy secondhand and try not to buy new, and really know where these are being produced and how it's being produced. So now Nike, like we mentioned in the last video, is a United States company, but all of the shoes and the shirts are really produced overseas. So we still outsource a lot of that production. But Nike is my preferred running shoe. I've had 3 pairs of Nikes and I wear them to death. If I buy a new pair of Nikes, then I will wear it probably about 10 to 15 years until it's really falling apart. My most recent pair of Nikes I did get secondhand. They were brand new, but I bought them secondhand for $60, which is a good deal because a lot of times it could cost you like $100, $120. But again, I consider that kind of a new purchase. But when I got my new ones, I noticed that I was really not wearing my old ones, and my old ones were really beat up. And I didn't, you know, sometimes you will keep the shoe if you think, okay, I'll be gardening in them, or, you know, they can be my bum around shoes. They can be the shoes I don't care about getting messed up. But this pair was a little bit beyond that. So I looked up Nike's recycling program, and they do have a collection kiosk at their Nike store. So I had to drive a little bit, but I was able to go to my local Nike store and donate my shoes. Now, of course, a lot of these brands have those kind of recycling programs, and I was really curious, okay, how much of this is greenwashing and how much of it is true? And I watched a few videos here on YouTube, and I'm going to post a lot of them down below, so please feel free to check it out. But it does look like Nike does have a recycling program, and what it is just like all of the like any recycling service. It's pretty automated. The shoes get separated, the rubber soles are pulled away, and it's really broken down into kind of 4 different parts. The filler, that is the padding of the shoe, the rubber, and then the actual nylon or polyester, that's the netting, and then the kind of polyester that goes into the shoelaces. So, and then if there's any metal parts on a shoe, like say for instance you have a steel toe or something like that, that would be its own separate bin. But Nike does break it down, and they do try to recycle it. And they've actually come out with a few different types of recycled shoes. There's one type of recycled sneaker, and there's a great review video that I'll put below. And then there's another one that's called the Space Hippie Shoe Sneaker. And it's said to be using like a good majority of the recycled product. Now, like with all recycling, even if you're recycling bottles, even if you're just putting out your blue bin, plastic is very limited. You can the plastic has to be very clean. It has to, and to be honest, if even you can recycle plastic probably about 5 to 7 times, but even if you recycle all of the plastic, only about 70% can be put into a new product. So if you buy a soda and you look at it, you'll notice that on the label it usually says about 70% post content recycled, because plastic can't be wholly recycled. There are types of materials that can be 100% recycled, like aluminum and glass. Glass doesn't biodegrade very quickly, but it is endlessly recyclable as long as it's not mixed with, as long as it's not what you call tempered, where it's mixed with plastic to prevent it from breaking. But so non-tempered glass is endlessly recyclable. Aluminum is endlessly recyclable. So a lot of times if I'm buying a soda or buying a drink, I try to get it in aluminum without any, just regular printed aluminum that can be melted down and recycled. Nothing that has a label on it. I tried to avoid labels because that's more additives. But same thing goes for shoes. So even though you'll see like Nike has these, and they look really nice, they look like cute sneakers, I would probably try it out. It's probably not going to be 100% recycled. Plus, you'll see in the review, the person who bought them thought that they looked really nice, but they didn't seem to have the same structure, didn't have the same stability that like a fully new minted running shoe would have. So that's kind of the limitation. You're using recycled materials, but it's not 100% recycled, and I don't think that it's going to still have the same performance that like a newly minted running shoe would have. I did also see a lot of videos for PUMA. PUMA actually is pretty good about the recycling, and you see that too. I've noticed that when I pop the tag of just about any athleisure shirt, it usually says that it's a percentage of cotton and recycled polyester, which is really good. That's going in the right direction. And PUMA actually had a really kind of pretty video that talked about how they break down the recycling, and they kind of do the same thing. They kind of chop it up, and then a machine kind of breaks it down, chops it up into little pieces, and then it gets sorted. But what happens is they do have to put the polyester, a lot of the synthetic fibers, you have to put it into a chemical bath to get it to break down into its molecules in order for you to recycle it. And now I'm always kind of against that, because that is a lot of chemicals. You are using chemicals to break down chemicals to create new clothing. And I almost kind of think of it, if you watched my fast furniture video, we talked about PFAS chemicals, getting into our water supply. And then there's a process of what we call reverse osmosis. You literally, it's really intensive. It's almost kind of like breaking the atom, you almost have to break it down to its molecule state to get the PFAS back out of the water. And my solution is always like, well, let's just not put the PFAS into the water where we have to later. Why are we going to put it into the water so we have to split, pull out Oppenheimer to get it back out later? Same thing kind of goes with our clothes. It's like, okay, if we don't really make polyester clothes, or if we conserve that resource, because it's polyurethane, it's petrol, it's oil, it's gas. If we don't use that to create our clothing, then we don't have to worry about boiling it down, breaking it down to its atoms to recycle it. Now, there's since the 60s and 70s, polyester was a miracle fabric, because it got us, it was considered a miracle fabric because it could be created in a lab instead of grown, which, just like we talked about with cotton, it alleviated, it put the control on the speed in which it could be produced with into a Bunsen beaker. But the problem is that it uses petroleum, and it's very chemical based. The other thing is polyester doesn't breathe. When you put it on, it's kind of like wearing a plastic bag. And that's one of the reasons that I always thought it was a little strange that it would be put into sports clothing. Because of course, we talked in the last video, brands like Under Armour, Nike, they talk about the dry wick, and what it is it's just basically making it like a net-like fabric, but in between the holes in the fabric, that's still polyester. That's still anywhere that it's, anywhere that's polyester on your skin, that is a chemical-based fabric that's against your skin that's not breathing. So you are still going to sweat. The weave of the fabric might make it easier to breathe and dry, but you're still putting a synthetic fabric against your skin, and it is still like wearing a netted plastic bag. So, for workout purposes, it's probably not the best. But I did think that it was an impressive video. I am glad that at least we are trying. It's not like we're just using virgin polyester for everything. We are trying to recycle it, which is a good thing. It's an intensive chemical process, and just like we said, it's makes it we think that we're doing good for the planet, but it's still, if it takes more energy, and you think about how much power it takes to power those recycling plants. It's energy intensive, it's chemically intensive, and to be honest, if you buy secondhand, or if we just move away from polyester and really honestly try to get to more organic cotton with that reuses water, that's low water. Honestly, hemp is a fiber. It's kind of like linen. Hemp is very low water kind of, it's not water intensive at all, and it is kind of a byproduct of what you use other purposes for hemp. Also, hemp oil is very moisturizing. You can use it in hand lotions, so it isn't all medicinable in its purpose. But there's other natural fibers that would biodegrade and not have to be recycled. Now, you do also see a lot of recycled cotton, but again, same problem. It's going to take energy to break it down to its fibers, reuse it, and then to bleach the fabric to get it to a dyeable state. It takes a lot of work. But I was impressed by the way that PUMA did it. And again, you pop the tag of just about any athleisure, and it does say recycled polyester, which is a step in the right direction. PUMA also did have a lot of initiatives for recycled shoes. I think I'll post a video down below that talks a lot about the breakthroughs with it. But I think they were even trying to make recycling a lot easier. A lot of these shoe brands are even trying to make it all to make a shoe that is all one material. So instead of you having a rubber sole and then nylon and polyester netting and then leather straps, because that's the other thing we talk about in this channel. It's hard to break the different parts of it, separate it. When you got all that going on, all of it has chemicals, it has glue on it, it has dyes in it. That makes it all very hard to recycle when you're trying to separate all these pieces. But one of in the video I'll post below, it talks about one company is even trying to create a shoe that is all plastic, like all the same material. That way, when it reaches its end life, you're not ripping the shoe apart to get to its different parts. You can just recycle all of it. But the other thing is getting people to turn in their shoes once they're done, knowing that they're recyclable. So that was a cool thing to see. I've been seeing also a lot of New Balance. I talked in the last video about how New Balance was kind of this little cult, not in a bad way, but it is a United States based company, and it really talks about arch support and foot support. And sales of New Balance have gone up about 100% since 2012, and there's really no celebrity endorsement behind it, which is really impressive. It kind of sells itself, and I think the brand even promotes that. They say, look, we don't have any celebrities. We don't, our name brand is not based on who was seen wearing our product. It's based on the quality of the product, and it kind of sells itself. Now, New Balance is also, there's a video that I'm going to post below that talks about it. It is about 50 to 60 steps, and it's about 4 stages to create a New Balance shoe. And they are, just like Nike and these other companies, are trying to get into a recycling program. Now, I have not seen a recycled shoe from New Balance, but I have seen that with all of these brands, a lot of times the leftover rubber can be ground up and used as the foundation for playgrounds, that kind of squishy. I talked once in this video about how cork is really a great product because it's not only recyclable, but it's biodegradable. It's a naturally found resource. So, ground up sneaker rubber would not be biodegradable, but it would be a great way to reuse it so it's not just going into a landfill. But so that's some of the ways that you're seeing these shoe companies address it. Some other technology that I think was really amazing is that in 2020 there was a San Francisco-based company that invented a plastic that is that's algae based, and I've talked about algae being used for like saran wrap, but they are starting to find a harder plastic sole for it, and it's a company called Blue View. And they actually do have these shoes available, and the great thing is that they are biodegradable. that they do break down. Now they're very easy to manufacture because there's really only two pieces to the shoe, but the problem is they do have to use a glue. A lot of times with sneakers, there's a glue that has to be used, and I'm going to post another video down below. There's a way that you can tell if your shoes have a leather sole or a rubber sole. If you have a leather sole, then you're going to see stitches. And the benefit of having a leather sole is that can be replaced, and leather is a naturally occurring resource. It would biodegrade eventually. I know there are chemicals in it with tanning and changing the color of the leather. So I know anything that we talk about is going to have additional additives that are probably pretty not good, but at least the core substance is a little bit better. But a lot of even if it's a natural resource sole, you might see glue that adheres it. But the beautiful thing is a lot of these shoe companies are talking about that, either shoes that are made from algae. There's another video I'll post below. There's such a thing as natural rubber shoes. I have a pair of house slippers that are called babooks, and they have natural rubber on the bottom. And rubber comes from the rubber tree plant. It's kind of you kind of tap into it, kind of the same way that you get maple syrup. You can tap into a rubber tree plant, and to be honest, it does not kill the tree, which is good, but you do have to be careful that you don't over harvest it. But natural rubber is rubber, and honestly, you can make an organic shoe sole from that. I also saw a great video down below, that I'll post down below, that there was this company, and I believe in Denmark, that is specializing in the recycling of sneakers, and they're making great strides with it. Now, just like we mentioned, it has all of the other pitfalls. It's not a perfect science, but the very fact that we're researching this and we're looking to do it, and I dropped my shoes off at Nike and recycled them, and these other companies are looking at the future of that. I think that would go a long way to being more green. Now, of course, the other side of it is, I always say, buy secondhand. Anything that you see online, and it's funny, I was talking so much about Adidas, and the algorithm is picking up on that. I'm doing searches for Adidas, and now all of a sudden I'm getting all of the oh, if you're going to Coachella, you want to wear this, and all the different collections, the real flashy collections from all of them, from PUMA, from Adidas, from Nike, and and it seems like everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. I saw some Harry Potter shoes and stuff. It's like we're going, the main start of being green is, don't buy what you don't need, use it up, wear it out. And honestly, don't get into that, because I thought it was cute what Adidas was pitching, but I saw half of those garments on the clearance rack at Dick's Sporting Goods. So it is going to be just like all fashion. It can be very flash in the pan, and we don't want to be wasteful. You don't have to be. You can buy secondhand. You can find some really amazing stuff. It's funny, I mentioned Adidas. I had you remember in the last video, I had found at the thrift store a pair of the black track pants with the white stripes, and I found this secondhand on eBay, and it's a white shirt with the black stripes, and it has Adidas, and I think it's gonna be a really cute contrast with my pants. And it is polyester. It's 100% polyester, but it is bought secondhand. So I'm trying to, that's a way of recycling, without having to boil it down to its atoms. I can just buy it secondhand off eBay and try to wear it as much as I can. I'm also bought it this way for a reason. I'm going to kind of test out. I say on this channel all the time that polyester is kind of like wearing a plastic bag. All of my workout clothes are really made of organic cotton, so they breathe really well. And I'm going to put it to the test. I'm going to see, okay, how badly do I sweat in the 100% polyester versus the cotton? But either way, I think I'm going to look darn cute. And again, you know, we talked about the history of Adidas. It does have its fair share of scandal behind it, but I do see it as the underdog brand, and I see it as the, you know, the emblem of you know, the fledgling hip hop era in the 90s. I also wear a lot of Champion, and actually the eco outfit of the day I'm wearing is that this I bought secondhand, and it's 100% cotton. I've worn it a million times. My plaid shirt is 100% cotton. It is Vans. I bought it new, but I've worn it more than 20 times. So 30 wears rule. And the jeans I've worn more than 30 times. So really the goal is to wear the clothes that you have, you know, mix and match it, make it, you know, make it last. But you know, it did get me thinking, this video about, you know, the different brands. And so it is good, you know, I encourage you, if you have a favorite brand, or as you're working out for spring and you're getting ready for, you know, summer beach season or whatever, or if you're just working out to feel healthier, to feel better, to get your mind off current events, just to breathe and get out in nature, or you know, just feel stronger. Really think about it. Okay, you know, we asked the question last week whether or not you feel like a brand is your insignia. I encourage you to check out their green initiatives. What are they doing to give back? You know, I mentioned in my beach video, I have a pair of sandals that I have worn a hole in, and I still haven't found a replacement for them. So now, after doing all this research, I'm going to look to see if I can find maybe some cork sandals, or some of these green algae sandals, to see if I can actually find a biodegradable, comfortable pair, and really put it to the test. So that's it for this week's video. If you like what you see here, I would be very honored if you would like, comment, and subscribe. If we missed anything in this video, please feel free to comment down below, or if you want to, you know, please let me know what's your favorite brand, why do you like them, what symbolism, what do you think that brand of clothes says, what's the message that you put out to the world, and have you noticed, have they been doing any green initiatives? What are they doing to cut down on the waste and you know, make things more recyclable? But I thank you so much again for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.